Welcome to the Roy Anthony
every Tuesday and every Thursday. Y'all tap in.
Is this thing on? Can you hear me?
Roy
Is
Anthony
anybody out
Show
there?
is the spot to be, baby.
Hey, tune in. It's the hottest show, homie, on the West Coast. The Roy Anthony Show. It's the hottest show, homie, on the West Coast. The Roy Anthony Show. It's the hottest show, homie, on the West Coast. The Roy Anthony Show. And it's featuring the homie Big Hank
and Cynthia.
It's the hottest show, homie, on the West Coast. The Roy Anthony Show. It's the hottest show, homie, on the West Coast. The Roy Anthony Show. It's the hottest show, homie, on the West Coast. The Roy Anthony Show. And it's featuring the co-host Big Hank
and Cynthia.
It's the hottest show, homie, on the West Coast. Everybody tune in, you dig it? It's funny as hell, my dude. It's when we can kick
every Tuesday.
Everything is going
every
down.
Thursday.
They about to do the most. It ain't a confrontation, it's a conversation, homie. Yo, on the weekends, the Roy Anthony
every
Show.
Tuesday.
It's during the week, homie. The Roy
every
Anthony
Thursday.
Show. What you listening to? The Roy Anthony Show. Come on and get a
tap in
before we gotta
tap
go.
in.
What you listening to? The Roy Anthony
every
Show.
Tuesday.
Come on and kick it with us. The Roy Anthony
every
Show.
Thursday.
It's going down, homeboy. The Roy Anthony Show. Co-host
tap in.
Big Hank. We getting it. What you think? Hey. It's the hottest show, homie, on the West Coast. The Roy Anthony Show. It's the hottest show, homie, on the West Coast. The Roy Anthony Show. It's the hottest show, homie, on the West Coast. The Roy Anthony Show. And it's featuring the homie Big Hank
and Cynthia.
It's the hottest show, homie, on the West Coast. The Roy Anthony Show. It's the hottest show, homie, on the West Coast. The Roy Anthony Show. It's the hottest show, homie, on the West Coast. The Roy Anthony Show. And it's featuring the co-host Big Hank
and Cynthia Joy.
What it do? What it do? What it do? Hey, this is Roy Anthony. Welcome to the Roy Anthony Show. I am Roy Anthony. My co-stars will be coming in. Big Hank Norman, Cynthia Joy. We come from different parts of the United States. Usually I'm in Long Beach, or I'm in Kansas City, Kansas. Big Hank be in Long Beach. Cynthia Joy is based out of Colorado Springs, Colorado. And so then this is made off the platform of the WO Entertainment, which is was created by Richard King, aka Redneck Pimp, based out of was part of Missouri, Cameron, Missouri, along with the co-creator Goose from Cameron, Missouri, our social producer Blue Phoenix, based out of Springfield, Missouri, Eighth and Daily, our other social producer based out of Los Angeles, California, to my understanding, along with our sponsor, Matthew Brooks, who's based out of the Kansas City, Kansas area, along with our good friends and neighbors, the BB Nation Backwood Veterans, which is based out of Portland, well, the Oregon area. I can't say Portland, they're a couple of hours away from Portland, but out of the Oregon area. And then we have the VRS Veteran Radio Syndicate based out of Columbus, Ohio area. And then we have the WO, which is based around the U.S., other countries, along with our own personal family, friends, associates, and even those who don't like us. Once again, I am Roy Anthony. Today's subject, we was talking about, the word came up about femicide. Tuesday, we was talking about the young lady, Shanquella Robinson, who was killed in Cabos, Mexico. And so if it seems like I've been rushing, I've been having a lot of stuff going on right now, a lot of research, a lot of people has been reaching out to me. And so one of the things that I try to do is let's get an understanding when we understand, certain what's going on, word, stuff like that. So just while we're getting ourselves together, I'm going to put this little function in and I'll be right back.
This is the Onion News Network, keeping you safe from the lies.
with an update on a story we've been following all week. Hannah Stevenson, the 16-year-old girl from Detroit, accused of stabbing a classmate to death with a screwdriver last month. At her arraignment this afternoon, Hannah received the harshest possible sentencing from the judge. She will be tried as a black adult.
Due to the extreme and violent nature of this crime, this court finds it fitting to try the defendant as an African American. Henceforth, you will be referred to for the jury by the name Bondell Brown.
Once the trial begins next week, all courtroom images of Hannah will depict her as a 300-pound muscular black man, and jury members will be instructed to imagine her as such.
We're going to do our best to make sure that Hannah is treated with the sympathy and sensitivity that she, as a photogenic white girl, deserves.
This is America. Nobody deserves to be treated as a black man.
Now that Hannah has been ruled black, the court has instructed local media to assume she's guilty, and the police have retroactively charged her with assaulting her arresting officer. Hannah's 24 character witnesses have been replaced by a single crack addict who goes by the name of Skaggs. Hannah's parents are, of course, planning to appeal the ruling, saying that their daughter should at most be...
I thought I just started off with a little tidbit, you know, because why I played that video, because it's such hilarious to me, because of the fact that the court said that they're going to try her as a black man. That meant that you about to get some time, you know. But the word today and the subject is, what is femicide and why is there such an uptick of it? Well, we found out that femicide is when we have other people, let's say transgenders or anybody who murders a woman because she's a woman. Now, I've heard of homicides, but I didn't know that there was a terminology until lately. We've been doing these shows on predators, and we're finding that there's a path called femicide. Now, femicide is dealing with a person. Let's say here's a guy and he's a transgender. He wants to be a woman. And all of a sudden, he has a problem with a woman who's a natural woman. Therefore, they want to kill her, the natural woman. And this is what happened in the Shakella Robinson case. We dug in some more and found out where people thought that it was a woman fighting her, it was really a guy who was there. Okay, now I know everybody's heard here lately about the 4 blacks that was headed down to do a show. Matter of fact, let me bring in my guest right quick. Here's Big Hank. He's in the house. What's up with you, Big Hank?
What's going on, Roy? What's happening, baby?
Oh, you got it, man. You got it, bro. Tell the people who you are. I just gotta leave for a quick second. Tell the people who you are, bro. And we're talking about femicide. I'm gonna get back on it.
Femicide. First of all, man, I'm Big Hank Norman, comedian, actor, activist, and femicide, man. Femicide, that's a little different, man, because that's when a person who wants to be a woman and tries to dress up like a woman, and then they commit a crime against a real woman. I think that's what femicide is.
Yeah, that's one of the categories. And what you just said is what I was explaining about what happened with Shakella Robinson. That was from North Carolina, and we was talking about her Tuesday, in the family. So I've been digging, you know, when I find a word and stuff, even though I make up my own words, but we put that as the Roy's words.
Yeah, them Roy's words.
This is a word, femicide, which I've been fully defining, that you even have heterosexual males that will kill a woman because she's a woman. Wow. That's why they call it femicide.
Wow.
I found out that most guys who would jump on their woman but can't fight the men out there, it's most likely the ones who commits femicide.
Wow. That's a good analogy. I could see that too.
Because she's a woman, and women is kind of supposed to be physically weaker than men.
The weaker vessel, yeah.
Yeah. So there's guys that won't face up with another guy,
but they'll beat the brakes off of a lady.
That part right there, which is considered femicide.
Okay, I'll go for that.
You know, we don't have where we got a lot of different, how can I say, where men, like myself, I've never been a person who hit women. I was taught it's best to beat and to beat them. Yeah,
I've never been one either to do that.
Yeah. And so I was talking to one lady one time, and she was telling me that her dude would come home mad at his job, and then we want to fight her. But then I talked to some of the guys from his job, and they were saying that how everybody in the job punks him.
Oh yeah.
So he takes it home and takes it out on his wife.
Wow.
That's a form of femicide. Because pushed her and shut up, and she hit her head on the table, or it accidentally kills her. They consider that because you didn't fight these men who called you.
Right. That's some punks. That's some punk shit.
Exactly. That's what we'll call it. We'll say it's some punk stuff, right?
Yeah.
And so one of the things that I found out, and so when we in our public seem to always keep it up on a rise, is that femicide, there's been a lot of transsexual women being killed.
Transsexual women. What you mean?
Men that done turned into women, that's been an uptick in their deaths.
Their deaths, okay.
Yeah.
And who killing them?
I to my understanding, the way some of the scenarios plays out, I'm just I want people to understand I'm not quoting how every scenario comes out, but one of the scenarios is that this guy thought that she was a woman.
Gotcha.
To find out that she's a dude.
Right. Gotcha.
You know what I'm saying? Remember he had a song, a verse like that about he thought it was a man. You know, thought it was a woman, turned out to be a man. You know, some guys have gone into that.
Yeah.
And so, man, I was going to put up one of our commercials because there's some stuff that I'm going through back and forth for a few minutes.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna put up this for public and private sales, and we'll be right back.
Hey, what's up with everybody? This is comedian Roy Anthony, like you didn't know. And I know I was just talking to you, and I was looking pretty good too. Now, one of the things what we want to discuss is that you ever notice when you look at a dollar bill or any type of money, it's always telling you what it says, like, okay, $100 bill. It says on here, this note is legal tender for all debts, public and private. Well, guess what? There's always the pros and cons for everything, because public sales and private sales are not the same. You may not understand what I'm talking about. Once you come with me, I'm gonna show you what I'm talking about. Okay, notice we're here at Tito's Bakery. This is for public sales. I'm going to go order some food using my money, because it says that I can use this dollar for public and private sales, right? So I'm gonna go order me something, and check this out. Now I just came out of Little Tito's and I ordered 2 tacos, right? But look, he gives me a burrito. Guess what I can do with my dollar? I can go back in there and get my right order. Watch what I do. Hey man, I paid my money, man. You pay your money, you supposed to get what you want. Now, I ordered 2 tacos, and he gave me a burrito, and guess what? I went in there and was able to get my 2 tacos. That is for public sales. Now, let's see what happens when we use the money for private sales. Now, we've already seen how public sales are, right? Now, let me show you how private sales is totally different. But you remember what it says on the bill. It says, this note is legal tender for all debts, public and private, right? Now, I have an associate who has come to deal with me for some private sales. Why don't you come with me? I'll show you what I'm talking about. Now, what I did was, I just purchased a dub bag of Kush, right? And I'm gonna check my product and wait a minute. This ain't no dub bag of Kush. This a nickel bag of stress. Man, now watch what happens now. Hey man, I told you I needed some Kush, man. This is some stress. What the hell you trying to do here, man? I paid for what I paid for. I need to get what I'm supposed to get. That's how you do it.
Fuck you say, little nigga? What? I must be hard of hearing or something, because I know you ain't just asked me for no motherfucking refund, exchange, nothing like that. We don't do that shit around here. Straight up, homie. Fuck on down the road with that bullshit. You gotta say now.
Hey, you know where the good stress blunts is? Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
I always had to do. That's our commercial break, y'all. You see me filling them in and stuff. And Big Hank.
That nigga said, you know, I can get me some fresh blunts then, since you're not gonna give it back.
Hey, let me ask you a question, Big Hank.
Yes, sir.
How do you feel when you hear that some guy jumped on somebody, a woman, period? Like, even if it's domestic, what's your outlook when you hear that a man has jumped on a woman?
The first thing go through my mind is that's some hoe shit. That's the first thing go through my mind. That's some girl shit. That's what girls do. They fight each other. Men don't fight women. You don't put your hand on a woman. And I usually those cats are usually weak-minded guys that can't hold their own in a manly, in a manly arena. So they go home and beat on their women and make themselves look good, man. And I don't see it. I don't see that.
And this uptick of like, now, can I ask you something personal?
Yes.
This is like in your past. Somebody has said to me, "Oh, Big Hank said he used to be a pimp."
Mm-hmm.
When you was a pimp, did you hit women?
No, I wasn't that kind. I wasn't no bully. I wasn't no buffalo pimp. I didn't have to hit my women to make it go work. You understand me? No, man. No, I didn't get down like that. No, the hoes I had was already out there hoeing. I didn't have to make them go. You know what I'm saying? I was just, hey, man, you out here, I'm out here. Let's work together, man. Let's go.
I feel you.
Yes, sir.
I feel you. Now, Big Hank.
Yes, sir.
So you explained, just like myself, I've never been a person who hit women. I've never been to that. That's probably why I've been with relationship, because if someone starts arguing at me, I'm the type that it's time for me to go.
Yeah.
And at first I used to think I was wrong about it, because I had women would say, you don't want to stand and approach the situation. But one day I read in the word, it's best for a man to go on the rooftop than dwell in the same dwellings of an irate woman. That's basically.
Yeah.
So I found out I was doing that, period.
And that's a good thing.
Yeah, because one of the things I learned, sometimes when both parties is mad or hot, it's really hard to get into and understand. You need to go away for 15 to 20 minutes, go outside.
Cool off.
Yeah, because the worst thing I've seen people do arguing is trying to prove that who is right.
You're right.
And each tone is getting louder and louder. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And next thing you know, I was listening to Richard Pryor, and Richard Pryor said, brothers, we don't have a good comeback when women be arguing at us. They be like, well, all of a sudden the dude was like, well, fuck it then. You feel me?
Yeah.
And the response felt to say, let me just think about this. Let me just give, a rational head.
Yeah, well, our problem is we don't know how to have a discussion about right or wrong without arguing, because we wasn't taught that. We didn't learn that. We wasn't brought up that way. But what you do is you learn as you grow. You learn what sets you off and what don't. You know what I mean? So when something get ready to set you off, I get away from that. You dig what I'm saying? So I'm like you, Roy. I don't do the arguing and the back and forth. And now I did, and I found myself in some situations where I shouldn't have been. And now that I've done that before, I don't do it no more. So I don't get caught up in that kind of friction.
Yeah, and that was the thing with me, man. Like I've had some nice ladies. Man, my problem was I didn't know how to take a disagreement. Period.
Yeah.
As far as that, I'm up and gone.
Right.
And I've had them say, I just asked him why he don't like this mayonnaise on the sandwich. You know, and it was a reason why. I thought somebody said something. It's a reason why I'm doing two things at one time, y'all. But it was a reason why it was a disagreement, because I tell people, if I don't like mayo and you make me a sandwich, I say, hey, could you hold the mayo? What you mean you don't like mayo? I like mayo on my sandwich. Well, there's something we don't have in common.
Right, that's your sandwich. That's why your sandwich ain't my sandwich. That's right.
Exactly. Yeah, to make someone wants to argue and stuff. You know, I've been where, okay, this is one time I had a girl, we broke up. It was one of the most craziest. It might have been immature on my behalf, whatever, right? We're taking a shower together. She started urinating. Pee is going all over the floor, on the bathtub floor. So I'm like, hey, what you doing?
Yeah. You peeing on my feet.
So she said, you don't pee when you taking a shower? And I'm basically like, if I'm by myself.
Yeah.
You're squirting and hitting the feet and everything. And she's like, well, we in the shower. It just seemed so, you feel me?
Might have turned some other niggas on. That might have turned some other cats on.
That part.
Yeah.
I had one lady dressed up as a schoolgirl one day. I came, she's like, it was my birthday, and she got on this little plaid skirt with white socks up with some heels eating on a lollipop. She said, you find me sexy? I said, hell no, I don't find you sexy.
You look like a little 12-year-old. You look like a 12-year-old.
The shade yourself up and everything, but well, who you messing with? She like, you want some of these? He was licking on a lollipop.
Yeah, she messed with them old tricks, them grandpas and shit. They grandpas
didn't
like
turn
that.
me on and nothing like that. and so then I'm like, okay, hey, now I understand people have fetishes, but what gets me is when I hear, like, you hear about a national serial killer. Seem like they prey on women. You ever notice that? You know, but now you're and what gets me for the life of me, I'll say this again, we brought this up before, ladies, when you're going out, don't go back to your car by yourself. Don't leave out the place with your friends by yourself.
That's right.
Women are getting kidnapped, and a lot of these, but what gets me is when we was talking about Shaquella Robinson, for the fact that Shaquella was fighting with some guys that was actually trying to be women.
She was fighting with some women that was actually guys. She was fighting with some girls that was actually guys.
Yes,
right.
And that's why it's femicide, because they be like, you're a real woman.
Yeah.
So it kind of makes me feel like they be like, here's a trans woman, and it's like, oh, you think you better than me because you got ovarian tubes, you know, ovaries and fallopian tube.
Fallopian tube, because you got a fallopian tube, you can have a baby.
Exactly. And so rage and jealousy makes them do that.
But now I got another thing on that too, Roy, because like in schools and stuff, when they do that gender thing, they try to put them in the same class as the girls. They let them run track against the girls, play basketball against the girls, but they shouldn't do that, man. They should have their own league. They don't know transgender league. We all go over there and beat up on each other.
And I would think
I don't want them playing basketball with my daughter, man. That don't make sense to me. It's a man.
And then the thing is, like, okay, remember the white college student who was a swimmer?
Mm-hmm.
And he was swimming. Now hold for a quick second. Hold it down for a quick second.
Hey man, I don't know about y'all, man, but my thing on this transgender thing is that I don't mind you being a transgender. I don't have no problem with you changing your sex and doing what you do. That's on you. But my thing is, I don't want somebody that used to be a man, which, well, he really still is a man, that's trying to be a lady. I don't need you playing basketball and running track and playing baseball against my daughter. That's what I don't like, because it's an unfair advantage. Now, you used to be you a man trying to dress up and be a lady, which is cool with me. You're gonna get your sex changed and all, that's cool with me. But I need you to not play against my daughter. I don't need them to be in the same league as my daughter. My daughter is a natural woman. You dig what I'm saying? And you coming over here with these men legs and men arms, but you changed your sex.
Yeah.
And that don't make you no lady, in my opinion. That just make you a transgender, and y'all should have your own transgender league.
Do you remember there was a white guy who was a swimmer in college, and his first year prior to doing the woman, he competed with the men in swimming. Then he had his transformation, and then he was competing with the women, which they gave him the college athlete of the year.
I guess so.
Yeah, now,
I guess so.
Yeah. Now, it seemed like the other women would be like,
outraged.
Yeah, I'm a real woman and stuff. Yeah. So here's a trans sounding her to a real. I'm a real woman too. No, you're not. And next thing you know, what you have a murder. And so femicide meaning, y'all, where a woman is murdered because she's a woman and stuff. And it almost falls more penalties than a homicide. And so now, hey bro, now before we go, we're gonna get off of that subject. Let's get on this sports, man.
Wow.
I've been seeing a lot now. You had mentioned Ja Morant too. See, now it's reported that Denver is not pursuing charges, but he's still suspended for 4 more games.
Right. Yeah. Ja Morant, man, he got to work on himself, man. Now and you know me, man, I went through some stuff in my career too, so I'm not one to talk about nobody, but I wasn't flashing no guns and doing all that, and I didn't have no $1 million contract and no $1 million Nike contract, you know what I mean? And so my thing is this though, we don't know what happened to him as a youngster or as coming up as a kid. Maybe he had some trauma that kind of make him act out like that. Whatever it is that causing it, he needs to get some help. Yeah, he needs to get some help. And I got a big pet peeve that I don't like how his pops is like almost like this nigga friend or something. You know what I mean? He getting drunk at the games. I remember when they was getting ready to get into it. Shannon Sharp and Ja Morant was getting into it. His daddy was getting ready to jump in, and I just think that his daddy needs to be a little more disciplined and a little more daddy-ish instead of like you my homie or you my friend type of stuff.
Yeah, I was reading their autobiography about them. Just digging up information. His dad was training them. I think he had played some partial ball at one time or another, and and so then I was looking at what you said, Big Hank, just on that with the fathers and stuff, and you would think like, hey, you know, we kind of want to tone it down and stuff. But I don't disagree with him with dealing with the Shannon Sharp situation.
Oh yeah, good. That's my son. I'm trying
Yeah.
to.
Now with that, dude, you a spectator, stay out the situation. You know, especially we know that Shannon Sharp is biased towards LeBron James. Period. So I thought that was on both parts.
Yes.
So, but I didn't blame the guy, Ja Morant's dad, for speaking up towards Shannon Sharp. But I do see what you're saying with the party and drink. Now, what I couldn't understand now, because when young people is away from their family, they do certain things. He wasn't partying with his father at that function.
You're right.
And it seemed to me, to be honest, one of those, I'm not trying to say a country scene, but I've seen that occur when the guys is out in the fields, you know, kicking and drinking and stuff out there in some of the southern areas, country areas, you know, where and they shooting up in the air.
Yeah.
It seemed to me that he kind of forgot where he was at. you feel what I'm saying? And on top of the world. Now, one of the things though is being fought about that with Ja Morant is, I don't think it was a real gun. He has not been able to state it was or not. It was never a gun found, and the place was called something pistol or something, where everybody in there get these little fake things anyway. They said nobody called the police or said, oh, he got a weapon. Unless he was making it rain so much that everybody like, forget it. I didn't see it. Now, I do have a problem when we have a retired NBA player in his 50s, and you getting caught in a drive-by shooting.
Come on now, that's unbelievable, man. That's unheard of. Come on, man.
Anybody's unaware, tell them, Big Hank, you tell them what.
Come on, man. They got evidence, and they found Deshaun Kemp, NBA All-Star. I think Sean Kemp one of the top 50, one of the 50 greatest, ain't he? Wasn't he on that side?
I never seen it. Matter of fact, I hadn't heard Sean Kemp's name until lately, except for when him and the Glove was doing their thing up in Seattle.
Yes, sir.
Then
the Rain, he's calling him the Rain Man.
Yeah, I mean, he was dunking beyond measures.
Yes, sir.
But the last what I was hearing about Sean Kemp is that he had so many kids.
Yeah.
That he wasn't even getting a full NBA check. And now you in the worst side of news. You could be a coach, you could be a mentor. There's so many colleges that take an NBA player.
Of course.
You know, but
Sean Kemp is doing something else though. Sean Kemp, he ain't worried about that. He on something else.
And it's kind of amazing that when you're doing something what he said, they was arguing with another car of people. Now they shot, but the other car was shooting back. But the other car stayed to talk with the police. They drove off. So now it's that other person's stories compared.
Yes, yeah.
Because you ran off. You should have stayed there and been like, hey.
Yeah.
You know, but shooting in the public streets at each other is against the law. You know.
Period.
Now, he has a name. He's like, no, what's his name? Sean Kemp. Sean Kemp, the NBA player? Oh, snap. And then next you know, it hits the media.
Yes, sir.
Now, that's something I want to ask you about when you brought up about these news, Big Hank. Do you find it funny how do the media get out that you as a sports just got arrested? There's numerous arrests, but it seems like the police department is quick to want to say such and so got arrested.
Well, I think they got a team or somebody that always go through and check that kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? They got a part of the media that, hey, check all the jail records and all that every day. Make sure you check that's your job, to make sure any celebrities, anything, that's their job, man. And so that's their thing to do. And so that's how I get out. You know what I mean?
Because, all right, like Vanessa Bryant, she just won a civil war against the Los Angeles Police Department, because here it is, they taking pictures of and sending them out to social media. I saw some of the parts of the jury, and I thought that, man, that's cold-blooded. One of the police officers took pictures and take it to his favorite bar and was showing everybody.
Showing everybody, yeah. I heard about that.
Man, what type of inhumane person and stuff, for real? And if they could do that to someone like Kobe Bryant, what you think they've done to cats on the streets?
Come on,
I
man.
question someone's mentality like that.
You know, and I don't know what would make a person do that, but it got to be something, I don't know, sick, twisted, you know what I mean? And then it got to have something to do with a little bit of that too, you know what I mean? Because the media is paying for stuff like that, man. They'll give you $1 million for a picture of Kobe or somebody, you know what I mean? So it's the world we live in now. Everything that's right is wrong, and everything that's wrong is right, man. So they're trying to flip it and flop it and make it what it is, but we know the truth, man.
Hey, let me ask you, Big Hank, all right, one of my pet peeves is when, I always say this, that blacks, we make up 13.5% of this population. But we have a lot of blacks that plays the NBA ball game, the NFL ball game and stuff. And I was looking at the hockey for instance, there's about 2 or 3 brothers in there.
It's more than that.
Yeah.
And they picking up their pace, and they starting to show out, starting to shine.
Yes. And so somebody had once said, man, it's all sports. I said, for one, we all represent America when we play against other countries in this particular sport. You know, I was impressed with the Jamaican bobsled team. It does not snow in Jamaica, but they had a movie about them. And I looked on Winter Sports just to see if they always in there. They always in there. They never win, but they constantly competing, and they got the sponsor. But it amazes me sometimes. I've seen the video, and I said, I'm gonna probably play it Tuesday, where Kendrick Perkins and JJ Riddick got into an argument on First Take. Big time. I don't know if you've seen that video.
I haven't seen the video.
But of all the players that's in the NBA, Nikola Jokic is looking at getting his 3rd MVP, which means the most valuable player out of all of these players.
Come on, man.
And so Kendrick Perkins said that most of the reporters
that get the vote for the MVP
were whites.
Okay then, yeah.
And so JJ Riddick stated that was a narrative being created just by Kendrick Perkins and the show.
Yeah.
What's your view right now, bro?
Man, first of all, we know who sit in the high seats. We know who they got sitting in the high seats to make all the votes, and we know that. He know it too. And Nikola Jokic is not the best. He's not even the best center in the league. You understand what I'm saying? So it's something going on. He ain't never won no championship, and you ain't the best center in the league. And so how you getting all these votes for being the best player in the league is beyond me. I think Luka Doncic is better than the Joker. Luka Doncic is the one. Yeah, he way better than Nikola Jokic, man. Well, he way better than him.
On offense because Doncic is not a good defender.
That's true. That's true.
But I watched his game, which they put it on a Sunday game, the marquee, against Jokic against Embiid. And I watched that game because last season I thought Embiid should have won the MVP.
Yes, sir.
Well,
Embiid. His name is Embiid. I get you. I know you're saying you call him Embiid.
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 Okay. Now, I watched the game a few Sundays ago where it was Jokic against Embiid.
Yes, sir.
And Embiid wore that tail down.
That's what he do. Yes, sir.
And Beeb had 40-something points, over 12 rebounds,
Yeah.
and some assists.
And Antetokounmpo doing like that all the time. Giannis doing like that all the time. Giannis killed both of them.
So when you say an MVP, like to me, I felt that last year should have went to Steph Curry.
After he pulled him out of the hole and won the championship, because they wasn't looking like no championship team.
Well, at first half, if you seen when he came back and that them last, like right after All-Star, I think there's always 25 games left. He went on a tear.
Yes, sir.
Now, I haven't seen Nikola Jokic take Denver to the Western Conference Championship, let alone the NBA Championship.
No.
I haven't even seen him be a threat really in the where there's 4 teams left in the Western Conference Championship.
Yeah. And you know, the NBA is always looking for the next great white hope. That's their thing. You know what I mean? They look for the next Jerry West, the next Larry Bird. You know what I mean? And so Nikola Jokic is supposed to be that.
Well, I like what Larry Bird said. Larry Bird said, "You ain't gonna never find a white guy like me. You gotta look at some of them black players who's gonna assemble me," because they tried to do that with Luka. And they shut it down because your defense is not up to par. You don't know how to shut someone down. They get
he can't. No, he can't do that. He can't do that. Nikola Jokic can't do it either. He can't shut nobody down either. He can't jump. He can't do none of that.
I seen him looking like I seen him do a turn, and then he saw the man cut, and he did a pass over his shoulder.
He could do that.
Like, they would, but. Okay, so we know who's controlled that narrative with that media. Now, let me ask you a question. What about these? You had brought up about these. What about these relatives that is related? Like you brought up about Ja Morant's dad. Now, I remember people had a problem with the Ball, with Mr. Ball, LeVar Ball, right? And the first thing I thought about is people's telling him, "Oh, you need to be quiet and sit down," when a lot of people believe that black fathers don't exist.
Yeah.
So here it is. Okay, so I'm on the front street. But I have a problem with a player's brother. You heard about Mahomes' brother, right? Patrick Mahomes just won the Super Bowl.
I ain't heard about his brother, man. What does his brother do?
His brother be wilding out with it, bro.
I bet he do.
He wilding out.
Yeah.
And his brother just had the police called on again. It's not the first type of situations. They had to even put him in the suites and stuff now because they want to kind of fight with fans. But the security stuff, have to help them. Well, he's at a spot and sometimes they think, okay, all right, so you're here in Kansas City and your brother, so it's anything what Mahomes' name is like.
Yeah, go. He can go anywhere.
You know what I'm saying? Now they got the 11th commandment. You got the 10 commandments, but now the 11th commandment is thou shalt honor Patrick Mahomes, right? So his brother takes advantage of that.
Of course.
So, now, in your days of sports, did y'all ever have to tell somebody on your teams to tell their family member to tone it down?
Maybe in I remember maybe like at a basketball game or something like that. You know what I mean? Not because when in football you ain't in the stands, so you really don't know what's going on. You might hear about it later on. Now we couldn't tell them to tone it down because it would be Compton fighting Long Beach. It'd be in the stands. Poly against Compton. It'd be in the stands. We out there playing. We don't know. You don't know they up there stabbing each other with pick what's the Afro forks we used to use? Remember them things? They out there stabbing each other with Afro forks and combs and all that, man. But I remember a couple of times during the basketball where a bad call would have your relative or your brother or sister say something wild to one of the referees or something like that. But not that wild as the police getting called on you and all that. No, I don't remember that.
Well, if you heard stuff like that, right? Oh, wait a minute. I just got a text message while I was looking down. Cynthia Joy just got off the plane back in Colorado Springs. That's why she's not here right now, everybody. She just sent me, and I really don't look at my phone, and I looked down and seen the Cynthia Joy. Now, you said, now, I know, okay, now, during the game, now, once you heard something that occurred like this, and you find out if your family members and stuff, they come, would you tell them to tone down the rhetoricness, or would you tell them, you know, I don't blame you?
Of course, I'll tell them to turn it down, man. I mean, look, man, I'm on the court playing. I can handle whatever it is I got, but I can't help you when you on the, you know, you out there doing your own thing. I can't help you, but so I need you to turn it down. Turn it down, man. So you ain't messing up our name, my name. I got kids. You got, come on, man. So I need to turn that down.
And so, and now, and that's the thing. Do you have, when you was at USC, did you ever have teammates who family, though, you never said nothing to them, but you seen that the family is always like got something to say to somebody on the sideline or something like that?
No, we seen that. Not at SC. SC was a little more, you know, SC a little more straight laced. You got to be, you know, a little more straight laced.
Exactly. Okay, that's
I might have heard more of that maybe at Poly when I was at Poly. You know, somebody getting at somebody, but not at SC, man. I didn't go through it like that at SC.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Now I know, and I still want to give a shout out to the Kansas City Chiefs. We didn't want to just bring up that negative part. They won the latest Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I applaud them, congratulate them.
And Patrick Mahomes is a beast.
Oh yeah, I've been a big fan of Patrick Mahomes and some of the Chiefs fans. I'm not a Chiefs fan at all, but I love Patrick Mahomes.
Patrick Mahomes is a monster.
For real. And and I also kind of looked at Andy Reid. Your life must be completely about football because you lost a son to overdose. Another son is going to prison because of mishandling of drugs and stuff like that. And you still been able to manage. What I don't like, and this is the reasons why the organization, I don't like it. They just got rid of By Enemy.
Yeah.
Now
I'm not sure if they got rid of By Enemy. By Enemy left and got a better contract. They didn't fire him or nothing.
Well, I'm just saying they know that man, they could have gave him a contract extension and all that.
Sir. Yeah.
They could have been doing all types of stuff. They didn't make no offer sheet.
Right. That's why he left.
Already kind of talking to him.
That's why he left. That's why he left. He like, watch what I do over here. He gonna say it. Watch what I do over here.
Now, the argument that I've had with some of the people from the Chiefs organization and fans of the Chiefs organization is this. Andy Reid coached the Philadelphia Eagles for 10 seasons.
Yeah.
To where they got to the playoffs and won Super Bowl under Donovan McNabb, right? They didn't win. His offense, he had the same offense. Somebody tried to argue with me that it's Andy Reid's offense. To me, it didn't seem like his offense was working until they had Eric Bieniemy. And his offense, whatever he twerked with Andy Reid's offense, made it work.
Right. And that's true. That's true.
Because I had found out in the second half of the AFC Championship, it was Bieniemy who said how they was going to delegate it against Cincinnati. Then it was for him on the Super Bowl because it looked like Philadelphia was picking up steam. Looked like the Chiefs were behind. It was Eric Bieniemy schemes.
Yeah.
And once again, I feel like it's a Thomas Edison type scenario where Thomas Edison went to sleep and all of a sudden the black guy kept tinkering it. And all of a sudden he spoke in it and Thomas Edison was sleeping. He heard him speak. He said, I heard you. And the first thing he did was he got the paperwork and ran down and got the patent. I created this. But you fell asleep doing the invention creation.
Yeah.
You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So now And so, somebody said, well, what about your team? Y'all Raiders fans. Yes. Now, I personally have been asking for removal of Derek Carr. I didn't think that he fit with our organization. Other Raiders fans know how I felt. They were stuck with Derek Carr.
I like Derek Carr. I still like Derek Carr.
I might fan for him on a different team. Because right now he got in a nice situation. He landed on his feet good. 3 years with New Orleans.
Okay. I didn't even know that.
Oh yeah, he landed. He got 3 years. Got 3-year contract. He's only 32.
Who is the coach in New Orleans?
I don't know.
Me either.
Because I know that their run of fame is through the coach Sean Payton, and Sean.
Yeah,
Payton,
he gone.
He signed with somebody else just lately.
I think he signed with Denver.
Yeah, I think it's Denver.
Yeah. I think it's Denver.
Yeah. And Sean Payton, I watched his movie, The True Story, with Kevin James playing him. The true story about when he got suspended from the NFL for the targeting and stuff like that. Have you seen? That's a good movie.
I haven't seen it.
He coaching his son's football team and stuff, and get them to the front. But there was a brother that's a coach. He let him know, this is my league. Not the NFL, this is something. But now, before we get off anywhere, who do you see going to the NBA championship?
God dog, man. Now, I'm gonna say this about my Lakers, man. I'm gonna say this about my Lakers because
you're in tournament play,
and we 5-2 since the NBA, since the All-Star game, and we don't have LeBron or D'Angelo Russell back yet. And we're gonna be scary, man, when we get in there. We're gonna be scary. Now, do I think we could win? Anthony Davis got to play at his best, and he been playing good, man. He been playing real good lately. And LeBron got to play at his best, and D'Angelo Russell got to be at his best for us to win. But if I had to make a choice right now, I would say that Milwaukee or Philadelphia look like
represent the East. You represent the East. Now,
well, this look like the team to win. Look like to me.
You was a Lakers fan. Yeah. Did you really honor that championship that they won down in the bubble?
I didn't. It's not for me to honor. I don't gotta honor it. The league did. I don't gotta honor the league. Did.
Because I'm gonna tell you that's an asterisk mark because you can't be out for 2 months and then come back in and play where most play. Okay, so now this is the real time because they was out for 2 months, Big Hank, and they picked up the playoffs with 1 game before the playoffs. So okay, now the 89-game grudge is not on you. That's what makes the playoffs interesting because you don't play this whole season, not rested for 2 months. Now, have I seen them? They have made it into the tournament play so far. They have reached number 8, if I'm not mistaken. Now, me, I feel like my Clippers have the chance to Boston.
Okay, but why? What? Because Kawhi ain't playing good. He play when he want to play.
Balling now. Have you seen him ever since? Oh man, he posterized somebody.
What's y'all record since the All-Star game? 2-5.
No, we was 2-5. It's because it's and it wasn't that we was getting blown out. Miscues here, adjustments here.
Okay.
Now Russell Westbrook is playing more of a team ball than I've seen him since his days in Oklahoma.
Yes, sir. Now, he looked like he learned how to play basketball all over again.
See, one night, you don't know who on our team because our big man had 20-something points with so many rebounds. Sometimes it's his night. Just like I used to be a big fan for Chris Kaman. You know, I'm a Clippers fan through and through. I used to root for my man Chris Kaman and Corey Maggette and Elton Brand.
Yeah.
And then, the transition with, I felt that Chris Paul never wanted to be with our Clippers. David Stern should have went on and let him go to the Lakers so he can prove that he was a bust going to be there because you constantly want to kick off when you do a three-pointer. That's why his stats is down now. You can't kick other people while you shooting and then fall down. You feel me? That's an offensive foul now.
Yes, sir.
So why I say my Clippers is because Kawhi Leonard, to me, is the best player in the NBA. He has taken every single person. He's the only player I know that could leave a team, come off injury after 2 years, and take a team that ain't even got past the Western Conference and go to the championship. He comes down with the Clippers. Paul George, hungry. Russell Westbrook, hungry. Powell, hungry. And then we got, oh man, I can just go on and on. I just think that if they don't do it this year, they have a stadium that's about to open for them that they can do it. They don't have to worry about hanging their stuff, their championships in somebody else. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And stuff. So, but before we leave off, I do want to say that they retired your boy Paul Gasol jersey right beside Kobe.
They do what?
You heard that they retired Paul Gasol next to Kobe's.
Yeah.
But I think that Boston has a good strength of coming out the East with it because they hungry. They was there, and Tatum didn't go into no blues about it. He stepped his game up. I'm just hoping that it reflects into the playoffs. But
I like the other Brown. I like Brown too. Brown Cole.
Oh yeah, Jaylen Brown. He's real good.
Brown vicious.
Yeah. But bro, I didn't. Is there anything you want to say before we leave off for this weekend?
No, man. Enjoy your weekend, man. Stay blessed. Keep God first in your life, and the rest will take.
What? Yeah, Rockbox is back, baby.
It just came bald. You were saying,
no, I'm just saying.
No, my mouth flew off. My mouth flew off. But you were saying, keep God first.
Yes, just keep God first, man, and everything will take care of itself. Live life like God is watching because He is. That's what I do.
Man, that part right there.
Yes, sir.
Hey, I'm Roy Anthony. This has been Big Hank. Cynthia Joy just landed it back in Colorado Springs. She was in Chicago. We'll see her next Tuesday. Hey, like he said, keep God first. God bless you and your family. We out of here.
Peace.
Welcome to the Roy Anthony every Tuesday and every Thursday. Y'all tap in.
Is this thing on? Can you hear me?
Roy
Is anybody
Anthony
out
Show
there?
is the spot to be, baby.
Hey.